Twitter shout out goes to @TransWolverine. Thank you so much for sharing last week's video with your friends and followers on Twitter. If you'd like your own Twitter shout out, feel free to follow Kate @IamKateNix and retweet this video from her account. Until next time, I'm Moxie Buttercup. And remember, sharing is caring.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Hello, I'm Kate Nix, composer and producer of the original soundtrack for the Heralds and Harbingers miniseries. Now, I'm sure many of you already know me since you're here on my YouTube channel, but for those of you who don't, I am a musician and seamstress and internet personality. Based out of Philadelphia and married to professional wrestler and trainer at the Chikara Wrestle Factory, Ophidian the Cobra. The score for the Heralds and Harbingers miniseries is one of the largest musical projects I have ever come in contact with. And because this was such a big moment in my career, I figured I'd share with you all the process that I went through. Fortunately for you, this won't include all the crying and screaming that was actually involved. Anyway, I decided to stick with a sound profile that I knew I would be able to understand sonically, and that was this 80s horror inspired, very low tones, drones, a lot of just super dark sounds. I really wanted to convey a tone of heaviness, of responsibility. I really just wanted to show the weight of the interactions that were happening on screen. The entire soundtrack is in the same key. This is my first scoring project, so I wanted to kind of keep it easy for myself. I love in movies when they use themes to, I believe it's called leitmotif or leitmotif. I don't know exactly how to pronounce the word, but I liked being able to use themes multiple times in multiple ways to sort of show how things were connected. And there were moments where I wanted to be able to layer themes on top of each other to show characters and situations interacting. So the primary theme that you hear most of the time in the soundtrack is called Harbinger, but when I was working on it, we called the Crucible theme. And it's sort of like the Crucible's Imperial March. It's really weighty, it has big drums, it's this growling, angry synth sound. So that was sort of the theme that I started with, that I based all the other themes off of. The second major theme that played a part was on the soundtrack. It's called Josu. It's this sort of lighter, almost airy violin noise. It's much slower. It's a lot higher pitched, so it's not as grounded. When you hear the Josu theme, it's not as connected to the earth compared to the Crucible theme, which has such a direct melody. It's very driven. The Josu theme is this light, sort of transient sound. The final piece to the Heralds and Harbingers puzzle is the cover that I did of the original Chikara Podcast A Go-Go theme from 2009, written by my very good friend Wiggly. Many of you who are involved in Chikara or have been for a long time will know Wiggly. Wiggly was a part of Chikara for quite some time. Wiggly is actually the reason why I am connected to Chikara at all. The most nerve-wracking part about this was definitely covering Wiggly's theme and bringing it into the Crucible sound universe. I mean, Wiggly's a rock star to me. I've known him such a long time, and he's always been so supportive of my music, so it was really important to me to do the theme justice and to make it worth releasing. One of the things that I also included in the soundtrack connected to the theme is a pastiche that I call Anthill University that you pretty much see only in one scene in the last episode. I used a piece of the original Podcast A Go-Go theme, the bass line that you hear in the intro that everyone kind of knows. It's sort of like the hype music for Chikara shows. I took that bass line and I played it on a music box kind of sound and it completely changed the way the notes landed. It went from being this super hype bass, like energetic piece, to this tense, uncertain, very amorphous sting. So you hear this motif earlier in the episode, and then later in the last episode, you hear the rest of the theme as covered by myself. I am 99.9% certain that this cover of Wiggly's theme is some of the best music production that I've ever done. I have been so empowered by this experience. It's part of why I wanted to talk to you guys about it, because in addition to the fact that you can now purchase the original soundtrack, please go buy the thing. You can get it here. The Chikara theme, The Fire Reveals, is free, but all the other songs are $1 and you should go get it. The experience of creating it and having my husband help me with certain pieces. He's not a musician. He has even less musical vocabulary than I do. His input was invaluable, and his support and obvious faith in the project just made me really have faith in myself. I was just so excited to release the soundtrack because, I don't know, I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of what I've made, and I feel that so rarely. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're just into my music, I implore you to go check the soundtrack out. There's not very much of my voice on it, but my brain is everywhere on it, obviously, since I am the sole performer and producer of the music. But I'm just genuinely like, I like it. I like listening to it. And getting that feeling during a project is very rare for me. I forgot to say this earlier, but you can check out the series in its entirety on chikaratopia.com or iwtv.com. So if you want to see the soundtrack in context with the actual miniseries, you can go there. So yeah, check out the soundtrack, and I will see you guys next week. Please like, and subscribe.
We can't guarantee it's worth it. You don't know if you don't try before we say goodbye. There is one more little thing to help us out, if you don't mind. To show us you really care, give this video a share. I know we are sad to watch you go. We'll see you in the comments down below. I like singing with you, Kate.
I like singing with you too, Moxie.